It is 6 o'clock. So thank you everybody for being here. So the meeting is now hereby called to order. So first order of business is Ms. Landis reading the roll call for attendance.
Mr. Now?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Here.
Mr. Nobles? Ms. Bud? Here. Mr. Fogel? Mr. Colvin?
Here.
And Mr. Pollock?
Here. Okay, I understand that maybe Rich Fogel may
Here.
Oh, there's Randy. That board
These are
member.
tired guys.
Yeah.
Watch.
I'm gonna watch.
Don't expect to tie.
So board member Rich Fogel may be joining us by teleconference and.
No. Chair, no, he was not able to join.
Oh, you had the kids on. So there we go. We do have a quorum. So the first order of business is the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of June 16th. So, okay, I got a motion from Bob and a second. Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimously approved. Ms. Bennett, are there any agenda changes that we've had?
No, sir.
All right, if any of the public wishes to provide comment on any item, the time to do so is now. Please complete a public comment card identifying the item upon which you wish to be heard and provide it to Ms. Landers at the table over to the side. The public comment cards are located in the back of the room, and each member of the public wishing to comment will be provided with 5 minutes to do so. The chair reserves the right to move the public comment opportunity on a specific agenda item to the point in the agenda where that item is considered and or extend the allotted time per speaker. Okay, so that's public comment. Are there any public comment cards? None so far. Okay. We do have a special guest. We're going to start out a little differently today. We have a special guest this evening that I want to introduce. It's Mr. Dave Bazanis. He's our air traffic manager in the air traffic control tower. David, thank you for being here, and we appreciate your attendance and look forward to your commentary tonight. Please welcome David Bazanis.
I think I know just about everybody here.
One second, David. I don't know if I can hear on the loudspeaker, so you might have to go on the podium. Just, we are being recorded and we do have people tuning in.
Okay.
All right, thank you, David. Appreciate it.
As mentioned, my name is Dave Bazanis. I'm the air traffic manager here at Boca Raton. Claire asked me to stop by just to introduce myself now that you guys are having the meetings over here. That I might attend more regularly just in case there's questions about general operations and that kind of stuff. I would like to start by saying, having been here since 2012 and been in the transition from the previous administration to the new administration, I cannot speak highly enough about the 180-degree difference as far as the collaboration that is available to me now that was absolutely not there before. The responsiveness to our concerns, needs materially is fantastic. And not to speak badly about what was here before, but it's a night and day difference. You know, there's issues, of course, with the tower itself that they are diligently trying to address. It's just unfortunate that in the current climate, it's difficult to find contractors to complete what you would think would be standard work. But other than that issue with the windows that we have, which is not a safety issue, it's just it needs to be done. And it will improve overall conditions in the tower because the newer windows will be sound deadening, hurricane resistant. The sound being the biggest thing. It's an unusual configuration here with as close as we are to the runway with the tower. You don't often see that, and for good reason. We're very, very close, and when we have jets rolling out in thrust reverse, we cannot hear a single thing as they go by us. So we're hoping that once that project is complete, that will be mitigated somewhat. We know being as close as we are, it's still gonna be loud, but it'll be better. But staffing issues that we've had in the past, thankfully, have been non-existent so far. I have 5 people on board, and everybody is here to stay for a little while, I believe. So everything has been very, very good. And like I said, the difference in just the team that they have and the responsiveness is, I cannot say enough positive about it. And if anybody has any questions for me?
Any questions for David? Thank you, David.
Just a quick question, can you be a little more specific about exactly where we are in the status of replacing the windows? Have we identified a contractor? who's
It's,
responsible?
Claire knows more intimately, obviously, about it. It's been addressed, they couldn't meet the engineering specifications for the windows themselves. And from what I understand, one of the biggest issues is, unfortunately, this project is too small.
Small
It's the
project.
same
So have
as-
we identified anyone?
No, not for, it's in the book, it's on the books, I should say, for us to continue pursuing it. Effort was a year ago, we actually went through a non-state, gone through the procurement process 3 times. And we got a special dispensation to negotiate directly with a firm that, in fact, I think, David, you identified
Yes.
as a good candidate for us. And then the firm was not able to deliver. So right now, we're sort of in that reevaluation stage, trying to identify,
And
you know,
again,
whether
the inability to deliver is all around the size of the project, it's just too
it's
small?
part of it. For that particular company, I think it might have been too big. You know, their specialty, we thought would be a better match because their specialty is high-rise residential.
Okay.
But, you know, I think that was also when COVID started at the beginning of that, and sourcing it was very difficult. And they just didn't quite understand the specifications, because the specifications are, as you can imagine, rather strict with what the FAA requirements are. So I think for that particular case, in this particular company's case, it might have been too much of a project. But we did put out a couple of times before that, twice, and we're not able to get any bidders. So it is certainly something that is continuing to be reevaluated. We just don't do enough building work to have to tie it to a larger scale project. But it is still on the books, and it's not a safety issue, but it is certainly something, as particularly as the age of the building. You know, it's a 20-plus-year-old building now, that we want to continue to explore and hopefully definitively address in the near future.
Is there any chance, or maybe you've already tried this, reaching out to either the city or FAU or others who might have larger building contractor projects
Yeah.
ongoing, and you can partner with them?
Yeah, the problem with those, and we did, the problem with some of those is meeting the FAA specs. So we actually tried to get, this is where some of the, I'm sorry to get into the details, but where the frustration in dealing with FAA bureaucracy is so challenging for us, because the FAA actually has a team that does this specific work. In fact, they did replace the windows a year ago at North Perry Airport. So the exact same process. And Pompano. The difference there is that those are airports that are, the towers that are FAA-owned towers. Ours is a sponsor-owned tower. So their laws and their rules don't allow for them to contract with us. We said, we'll reimburse you we reimburse the federal government for all kinds of other things. And they, the individual who was sort of the local project manager was very enthusiastic about it. Unfortunately, when he tried to push it up further to their national level, I think he got a little bit of trouble for being too enthusiastic, because the response was no, the rules just do not allow us to enter into a contract with a sponsor to then be reimbursed.
We did have a victory on a similar level with a different type of equipment in the tower. We had a sponsor-provided flight data input-output device, which is how we get all of our flight progress strips, which are the flight plans for departing and arriving aircraft. That also is a proprietary FAA system, which the there are no civilian contractors that are authorized or trained to service that equipment. The airport authority, when they designed the tower and inspected it out, provided that equipment knowing that we would definitely have a use for it. But as it got older and older, the equipment was not able to be maintained. And then it, of course, became outdated. The FAA had to upgrade it 3 times, and our equipment stayed the same. The problem there being the exact same thing, there's no civilian market to go to buy that equipment. And we were going round and round. The airport authority had contracted to buy the upgraded equipment. And then they couldn't deliver, the FAA couldn't deliver it because there was a shortage. And the other main sticking point was, even after it was installed, they would not maintain it. And there are no civilians that are authorized to work on that equipment. So we went, it's a catch-22. But we did win, and we finally got the argument high enough that the FAA agreed that our system should be FAA installed and supported. So week and a half ago, they finalized the installation, and we have the fully FAA installed and key maintained equipment in the tower now.
And we got our money back for our approximately 40,000.
There's $40,000 that came back that they didn't have to spend. Thank you.
I have a question or comment over here.
Comment.
If you could identify yourself too.
Yeah, so Jose Cabrera with Signature Flight Support. We would be able to provide a vendor recommendation. On the FBO building in West Palm Beach, for Signature particularly, it happens to be an all-glass building. So we've worked with similar vendors in the past that unfortunately, overhang, so people have hit the building before, and we've had to change these type of,
The airplane?
no, the vehicles.
Okay.
In front of the buildings. Thankfully not the airplanes. That could happen though. This would not do that. But, no, like, UPS, FedEx drivers will come over the overhang to close.
Okay.
So we could recommend that, somebody that, it's a Palm Beach County vendor, so that could potentially, bid for the work and potentially work with, if they did similar work for us in Palm Beach, they may be able to do, this type of work,
Great.
hopefully, so we can recommend that and forward that.
Yeah, if you could send me that, or I'll reach back out to you.
Yeah.
Right, that'd be great.
Thank you.
There you go, David, we might have made some progress for you. Anybody
We'll
else?
take whatever we can get.
Yeah. David, thank you very much for your
You're very welcome.
presentation update.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, our next, actually, we're going to be easy.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
You like fire stick?
absolutely.
Next item is the consent agenda, or any items on the consent agenda this
Yes.
month? Do we have any federal, state, or municipal input?
There is none.
Okay, financial report, presentation of June 2021 financial report. I'll turn it over to our secretary treasurer.
Yeah, I've reviewed ahead of time the financials, and, we continue to do well. This is my, second go-around as secretary treasurer. The one thing that, has been consistent with my whole time on the board is we're never worrying about, our financial condition. And it's a, position that many, other board members in different nonprofits and organizations, as well as small businesses, would be envious of, because we've got such a stable source of revenue. So at times the financials look a little skewed, mainly because of our timing on our capital projects versus budgets, but we continue to do very well.
Okay, with that, we'll turn it over to Jada. Jada?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jada Stewart, Accounting Coordinator. In your package is the financial report through June 30th, 2021. As you can see, total operating revenues year-to-date are approximately 4.7 million. Total operating expenses year-to-date are approximately 2.5 million. And net income before depreciation is approximately 2.2 million. Overall revenues are 26.2% above budget year-to-date, primarily due to seasonal nature of fuel flowage and custom revenues. Expenses are down approximately 27.2% to budget year-to-date, primarily due to the timing of one-time expenses in comparison with annualized budget and projected project expenses. incurred but not yet received. On behalf of Airport Management and the Secretary Treasurer, we respectfully present the June 2021 financial report to the Airport Authority.
Okay, thank you, Jada. I'm looking for a motion to approve the June 2021 financial report.
So moved.
Second, Gene Bolden, this motion. Second. All right, and Melvin's the second. Any questions or comments or additions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously approved. Thank you, Jada. Next is a report on the Atlantic Aviation LED lighting installation and maintenance agreement. So Travis Bryan is going to make a presentation on that, right?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, appreciate it. We received requests from Atlantic Aviation. They have a green initiative that they're trying to expand upon all their locations. Would like to exchange all their lighting that is not already done so to LED fixtures, more energy efficient. Kind of unique situation here. The parking lot lights for the outer parking lot portion of their facility was actually built and maintained by the authority back when the authority occupied office space in the building over there. It was in lieu of rent. We built the parking lot and agreed to maintain it. The situation has since changed throughout the ensuing years. Obviously, we're in a different building. So we'd like to enter an agreement with Atlantic Aviation to agree to take over responsibility of maintenance to allow them to replace all the aging units over there with LED lighting, and they would be responsible for further maintaining the units in the lot up there. It's kind of faded, but the red line outline there is also on the, kind of gives you an idea of what we're talking about in there. The sun's in the perfect spot right now, but it's the exterior between the street and the building that we built for them back then. But Airport Management recommends approving resolution number 071421, authorizing Atlantic Aviation to take over the maintenance responsibility and replace these as part of their green initiative. And we have Mr. Therry in here for Atlantic Aviation. If you have any questions about this one.
All right,
Motion
we have a
to
motion.
approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Michelle, a second. Discussion. Any questions, discussion? I assume Atlantic Aviation is in favor of this, right? They came to us, right?
Yes, the light.
There's
He's smiling, so I guess that's good.
all right.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Anybody got any other comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, another unanimous approval. Thank you. Thank you, Travis. Next is some special event requests. And we have Robert Pratt who will make the presentation. So Robert.
Good evening.
First one is Atlantic Aviation, correct?
Yes, sir. Robert Pratt, Operations Coordinator. Before you is a special event request that we received from Atlantic Aviation alongside BRAA to host a special event in their hangar on November 13, 2021. It is the Naked Warrior Project, which is a nonprofit foundation created to memorialize fallen military personnel. So Airport Management recommends approval of Resolution 071521, granting conditional approval to Atlantic Aviation to host a special event on November 13, subject to the submittal and Airport Management approval of the required safety and security plans. And we do have representatives here from Atlantic and BRAA, I believe, if you have any questions.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, so we have a motion and a second on consideration of this resolution. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. And you have another one there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Next up, we have a special event request from Signature Flight Support to host a special event at their facility on September 17, 2021. It is a Habitat for Humanity CEO build kickoff event, which is a nonprofit fundraiser that brings executives and leaders together to raise money and build homes for local families. Airport Management recommends approval of resolution number 071621, granting conditional approval to Signature Flight Support to host a special event, subject to the submittal and Airport Management approval of the required safety and security plans, And we do have Jose here from Signature if you have any questions for him regarding that.
So moved. Second motion and a second. Any discussion or questions on this in our board pack? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Robert.
Sir.
Next up is the noise abatement operations summary for the month of June 2021. Robert, you can cover that as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before you is the operations and noise abatement report for the month of June 2021. During the month of June, there were 5,102 operations, which is 28% less than operations of June of last year and 14% less than operations of June of 2019. Jet A deliveries were roughly the same as last year and were a 56% increase compared to June of 2019. And the F-gas deliveries were up 8,360 gallons compared to last June and down 48% from June 2019. There were 7 different households that filed noise concerns during the month, most of which were from the online web portal. During June, Customs had 142, up from 31 total aircraft clearings for June of 20 clearings for the month. Of these 100, they arrived from a total of 17 different countries. There were 53 after-hours clearings in the month, of which 31 occurred on days when the facility is normally closed. And that concludes the operations report for the month of June. I would be happy to Billy.
Okay, any questions for, hearing none, move forward. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next up is the Boca Raton Airport Authority fee schedule. And I'll introduce Christine Landers, who will make the presentation. Christine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. Christine Landers, Business Manager. Each year, we bring the fee schedule to the board for approval. This is for security badges and customs fees. We are not recommending any changes this year to the fee schedule, so airport management recommends approval of Resolution 1721 of the Boca Raton Airport Authority, adopting the airport fee schedule in accordance with the accounting policy and procedure manual.
And the schedule is in your packet, your board packet, you see there.
So moved.
Second motion, and a second. Okay, any other questions or comments? You should be happy, no changes. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Airport Road project update, and Mr. Coleman here to cover these. Oh, I'm sorry, I got one other. We have a public comment on all this, but let's go to the Airport Road project update. So, Mr. Coleman, you guys can handle that? Okay, so I will turn to you.
I'd just like to say that this has been one of my favorite projects for probably 5-6 years now. And we're finally seeing some changes out there.
Yes, changes.
And I'd say it's on schedule, and so let's hear from traffic. He has anything to say, if not.
I'm gonna be one of the back here.
I guess, yeah.
Progress here. A little bit. So far, progress has run relatively smoothly. We've begun installation of many storm drain installations along the airport road. We're changing up from just running off into the grass towards I-95 to actually capturing everything in our swales. So we have some containment underneath. Multitudes of electrical conduit have started to go in the the sides of the road for FP&L to facilitate the undergrounding of all the above ground electric and AT&T. More storm drain work. We were pretty fortunate last month to not have much rain to deal with, so they've actually got a pretty good grasp on this, and they did not have to end up installing pumps to de-water and all that. The ground level water was pretty low, so they could actually blow through this relatively quickly. A few more. This kind of gives you an idea of what's in front of City Furniture, the trenching effort, and in front of every tenant so far to bury some of the conduit. That's in one of the smaller trenches, the one closer to the street. There's up to 4 different sized conduits buried, plus directional boring at each intersection. Another progress update, we've been able to relocate the AT&T 5G poles further away. They were initially installed in an incorrect location that was not approved. So at their dime, they moved in where they were originally supposed to be put. Where they did put them was about 2 foot into our travel lane.
Oh, gosh.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, but they did move those and they're operational once again. This is on the west side of the road, looking northbound. Already started to do some earth compaction and grading and prep for asphalt in the coming weeks. One of the last hurdles for this side is getting addressed right now. FPL is moving in conflict guy wire for a power pole. So that hopefully when that's removed, we can kind of schedule a paving effort. Also undertaken so far is installation and moving multiple fire hydrant locations. So they can widen the road and bike path. That's still painting blue underground. Before we get over, that's what a long length of the storm drain plumbing looks like. There's probably, and Bryce can answer this a little bit better, but probably there's several thousand feet that are currently in place. And going through soil testing now, compaction efforts. That's on the west side of the road, which would normally just run off in the grass. It's going to be curved, and that's going to be the new edge of pavement at the edge of the storm drain, and everything's going to flow into our catchment basins on the east side of Airport Road. Not a job I particularly enjoy, but.
But that's not you.
That's not me. That is me behind the camera.
Gene,
That gentleman is particularly smaller than I am, so he's a little better suited to get down in that. That's about what we have so far. It's nothing super pretty yet. No new signage and no landscaping and things like that. So it's the dirty earthwork so far. So there's not really anything picturesque to really kind of present, but.
So is it on plan, ahead of schedule?
It's pretty much on schedule. Some of the slight derailments was like 5G poles, but they have AT&T was pretty responsive, got out here moving quickly. The weather's up until recently been pretty good, but even with some of the downpours they've had, they've only had to leave work early a couple days, and they worked that morning. And some of the rain has actually helped them for compacting soil. They don't have to use the water truck as much, so it's been kind of a wash so far.
I drive through probably a couple times a week, and it seems to be really safe. They've done a nice job with all the barricades. Have there been any accidents or any mishaps?
I don't believe there's been any major accidents or incidents. We have had to address them several times to make sure they have flagmen and sitting what they're supposed to. We've witnessed them a couple times, cut in a corner or two. So it's one reason we're out there all the time staring at them. Try to keep it safe, so that you don't want anybody passing. We have also contacted Boca PD several times to up their patrols, because we've had some incidents with some severe speeding through there, cutting around flagmen, and around barrels, and caution, in an active construction site. So there's been a couple close calls with some people going far faster than they should. So PD is going to get the quota this month on tickets, I believe.
Okay. Any other questions on that project? It's exciting to see. Anything else you have for us?
No, sir.
Yeah, I do have
some better photos as we go on to some prettier.
I do have a public comment card from Mr. Tom Thayer here, and his question is the viewing portico. So Tom, you want?
All right.
Sure, you got the microphones there.
Walk me at the microphone. So, anyway, Tom Thayer, 4821 North Dixie Highway in Boca Raton, Florida. And unfortunately, I didn't get my comment card in time to be at the start of the meeting. But what I wanted to talk about, and I don't really know how far along, but last meeting, we spent an hour or so talking about Clara's Dream Pavilion, or whatever you want to call it, viewing site down here on the south side of the admin building. And well, I don't really care what coating you put on the roof. That was a major discussion last meeting. I think we ought to talk about the concept. Because I, in my view of what Clara's concept is a sidewalk type building straight down here that only overlooks the airport. I'm thinking that the building ought to be functional in more ways than that. Because I just don't see people coming over here and sitting on a bench or a chair or whatever you're gonna put out there under this skinny little thing. And the building, in my view, ought to have some functional purpose to it. In other words, maybe picnic tables or something of that nature. Because if you look at our parks, there's not enough picnic tables to go around for the people that would use picnic tables. let's have some kids' birthday parties out here. And let's utilize the space. And again, I don't know how much space you got to work with. So, make it functional instead of a single purpose that I don't see very many people utilizing. So that's my comment, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We will have the team consider that. Comment.
I mean, just a comment, you know, I don't view this as, you know, Clara's viewing area.
Thank you.
You know, on behalf of the board, I think we all support it
Yes,
and are enthusiastic about it, so I'm not sure
me too.
what the thought was on that, but this is something that, it's
This is our
exciting.
viewing area. It's not
Yeah, so, yeah, but I didn't know there was a building involved either,
There's
so.
no building.
There isn't.
There is no building.
And just one other
Yes.
observation, if I may, Mr. Chair. We actually did talk about making it a multi-use structure. And as was noted, there is no building there. But remember, we had talked at both presentations by our outside coordinator, whatever you want to call her. Yes, landscape. Okay. So I'll show you more than landscape.
She's designing it,
Yeah,
she's designing
design.
the.
To ensure that there was enough electrical out there so that if the city wanted to have something, if we decided to have some of the special events that we currently are, you know, sponsored by, other entities associated with the airport, so we would have the opportunity to do that. So we are anticipating having electrical, we talked about some water, I don't know where we ended up on that. So I think the spirit of what you're saying, Tom, has probably been addressed, but I do think we need to reiterate, this was not a vision that Clara had, it was a vision that we all had jointly and have supported along the way enthusiastically, not only around the table, but I think within the community as well. So, point well taken, and I think we're kind of addressing some of that.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing no other projects to report on. Our last agenda item is the board member assignments for the various projects we have, and it was in your board packet. And annually, the board chair, along with Clara, review each person's kind of interest as well as their skill sets, and we try to come up with a list of projects we have on the board for the board to review, and have a project liaison for each one. So that's what we've done again this year on that list. Hopefully, these meet with your approval, the ones that you are assigned to. If not, now's the time to let us know, and we can make some adjustments. But there's no need for any motion. I just submit those to you and just look for agreement that you can work on these projects in more depth with Clara as they come to the board. Okay, I see everybody acknowledging and reviewing, so I'm going to take that as acceptance. Thank you very much. Ms. Landers, is there any other additional public comment? Okay, and do we have any other business? Now's the time for any board member to comment on any subject here that we had, or add new items to the agenda, anything that anybody has? Okay, seeing none, good there. And the next meeting is scheduled for August 18th at 6 p.m. right here in the conference room at the Airport Authority Administration building. So with that, and seeing no other comments, look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, thank you, everyone.
Right, yeah.
As hard as I can.